Hi everyone, my name is Christina McHugh and this is my presentation I'll be doing it in front of Andrew, who will be sitting right across from me over there. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome to our third annual Women for STEM convention. My name is Dr. Christina McHugh and I have been a doctor in Women of STEM for about 10 years now through veterinary medicine. I would like to talk to you, especially some of you who are new to the subject today, about what it means to be a woman of STEM in our society and why this is an issue that we should really put on our radars. For all of you who don't know what STEM stands for, it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And for as long as these genres and fields have been a part of our society, we have really placed a masculine demeanor around them. I aim to take a look at just a few of the reasons why many of us have come to believe that these are masculine fields and why women have been so underrepresented in these fields. Factor 1. So throughout the course of history, gender roles and assumptions have really taken over all lives, especially those of all men and all women and those who identify as such, especially in the factors of vocational and family values. In the past, gender roles for women were fiercely enforced and essentially never really questioned. In the 20th century, especially, many of these roles were simply put as that of a caregiver and one who never really attempted to reach out into her world, even if she was an educated woman. Although women have been given the opportunities and the resources to move forward in other vocational options, it is seen with the accomplishments of women such as Elizabeth Blackwell, who was the first woman to receive her medical degree. We've unfortunately been deterred away from these roles and pushed into unconsciously learned stereotypical roles of caregiver and mother, and only that of caregiver and mother. These gender roles that we grow with seemingly rest in the back of our minds when we are choosing another profession. In today's society, most no longer take such a staunch ruling of these gender roles, but this has not necessarily moved the issue of why women are moving away from STEM roles forward. According to Megan Pant of the Daily Dayton News in her article on women in STEM fields, quote, "One of the challenges educators have is to let women see that these are professions that don't have to be male only," end quote. And indeed, what seems to be mainly affecting these women is their ability to unrelate men only in STEM fields. What unfortunately has become a reality for most of these women is that they are now going into these occupations and not intimidated by the rigor or the occupations themselves in STEM, but by how these stereotypes are coming into play when they go to school. What Pant goes on to explain in her article is that women entering higher STEM education in some cases may be one of a few women in a classroom full of men, confirming many of the gender beliefs that they had, as well as the masculine dominance that remains in these science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. The second factor that has really drawn me to this issue is that women of STEM who are going out and achieving these STEM credentials are not necessarily entering the field in a way that is innovative and leadership progressive wise, but again falling back on these old gender-biased views and moving into careers that are seen as more feminine. According to Pant again, quote, "Women who do earn credentials are more likely to use their degree in traditional roles, such as education, which is nearly 74% female according to the report," end quote. Now, the education pathway for some of these STEM ladies is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, many of these STEM educators who are women do encourage more women to come into these fields, and they do push for these young women to succeed, and that there is high competition between education jobs for these STEM women, which allows them to feel motivated and excel in their studies. However, this still does leave that gap when it comes to the amount of women going into professions of research, into medicine, into labs, which still leaves gender biases as well in these areas and fields. Recently, I encountered a panel which looked at issues that are hindering women from entering these STEM fields. I have touched on two of these issues, but several interesting prompts did come up in this panel. Prompts that even affect the women who are representing STEM in academia. This phenomenon was referred to as the leaky pipe, which basically underlined the issues that are following women who are trying to choose between having a family and having a career. Instead of being given an opportunity to show your competence in your career and your ability to have a family, women are being pushed aside, and these positions are often given to men who are not necessarily seen as the primary caregiver in their families, and therefore can go ahead and take these leadership roles. One of the points that I thought particularly interesting was that 48% of STEM degrees in and that are held by women are unfortunately making up only 28% of these research and innovative fields. A truly shocking statistic, in my opinion. Women in STEM are constantly being pressured to conform to their masculine presence, and oftentimes are placed in positions that leave them out of their labs or groups, which allow institutions to directly fall back on how they view their work personally. So what do we really do about all of this? And how do we convince others that this gender bias is a real thing? Well, what is really becoming the root of this problem is how we are pushing these unconscious gender assumptions into our men and women going into these fields. Even if we as a society are not forcing these young ladies to necessarily just take a traditional role and become a stay-at-home mother or a teacher, we're not necessarily telling them that they are welcome in science, technology, and education occupations. A way that is really pushing these young ladies forward into these fields is programs designed to dispel these old fears about being an only woman in a STEM field. Pant states, quote, "Higher education facilities begin exposing students as young as kindergarten to STEM with programs such as TechFest, the recent April 20th Engineers Day, We STEM for Girls Only, and more," end quote. Another way that is really pushing these young ladies forward is recognition in their potential and future progress in entering the STEM fields through research and innovation. A big recognizer of women is L'Oreal, who hosts an award show every year for young ladies who have completed their PhD and are now working on postdoctoral research. L'Oreal's USA Fellowship for Women in Science program awards $60,000 to 5 women every year for their scientific research and advancement in the United States. These programs are definitely the step forward that we need in moving women in STEM together. And however, we still have a long, long way to go from removing all of this gender bias that is still here in STEM fields. I implore many of you here tonight to rethink your views on STEM and allow more equal playing fields which would not only boost our positive cultural views of women, but allow many more bright individuals to grow in these fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Thank you all. And here is Andrew again.
Hey, great speech.
Thank you, guys.